Hello lovelies, and welcome to this week's midweek wrap up. Love doing this segment for you guys because it just lets me be so creative and have so much fun with scarves, which is something that is a part of almost every day of my life, but I actually get to sit down and really enjoy the process. So for today I propose a challenge. How many different ways can I tie this bright green scarf? Now the rules are very simple. I can only use this scarf, but I can have any shaper underneath, any headband underneath, any kind of thing underneath, but the look has to be with just one scarf, and I've chosen this one, and I'll explain in a minute why. So the reason I chose this scarf is because in terms of its size, its fabric, and everything else about it, brightness, I feel like it's something that's readily available. So if you go into a accessory shop here in Melbourne, and we are pretty saturated, so we are very lucky here, but even so, any fashion store, any accessory store, you will find something that's similar size and similar width. I'll measure this for you to give you guys an exact indication, but I have so many scarves which are pretty much exactly the same as this one, so I figure this is a really good representation of what's out there. So to start off with, I'm going to do the first look. I'm going to try and recreate what I had on just before, but using a shaper. I had a scrunchie like this on before, and this is going to be a little bit different because this is a very, very different style of volume. So what I did was just folded it in half, just like that, so you get an almost square. And then taking opposite corners, create a sort of triangle. It's not a perfect square, so you're not going to get a perfect triangle, but it's pretty close. So you get this sort of idea now. I'm just going to pop it on. The idea always for me is that it just covers the base of my neck, so where my hair starts to grow, or the nape. So if you have a little feel around, that's where you've got little bones sticking out of the bottom of your skull, and that's where your neck kind of officially starts. So what I want to do now is I'm just going to take this and wrap it around wherever my shaper is. Now before it was a little bit higher, but now it's a bit lower, and that's okay. Okay, we'll do one knot and a second knot. This is a really good design for somebody who's a bit sensitive to having knots on their neck because you can't feel it. There's so much fabric between you and your knot. So then I'm going to take this and tuck it away. So you've got to pull these little bits out as wide or as narrow as you would like them. So what they're going to do is create like a little fringe. So before, what I did was I just twisted them. You can also twist them like this, like a little braid, and put them away. I'm going to do it a little bit differently this time. I'm just going to fan them out like a little fringe, like that. See how they just sort of fold in on each other? And then I'm going to secure them by tucking in underneath the tie, like that. Okay. So that's where the design part of it is. And then all these bits that just didn't behave, we can just fix them up now. Next look is going to be with the same triangle, except we're going to put it on the other way, where the wide angle is at the front and the triangle is at the back. So I've got to this point where you're happy where it's sitting across the crown there. Now this is going to be tricky because there's a whole lot of fabric for this sort of look. So we're not going to tie, we're going to cross over because it's just easier. So what I did was I just lifted up the triangle bit, or the short point, so that I could weave through the tails and still get a crossover without losing that beautiful point. So that's, and you know what, this is a kind of a look in and of itself as well. This is kind of cute actually, but that's not the look we're going to go for. For our second look, we're just going to spread these out, fan them out, so you get this beautiful look out of the pattern, and we're just going to tie them off. And just make a little kind of small flower sort of thing. I'm just going to tuck away these tails. Now this is the look we have so far, which is also a look in of itself. But we're just going to gather the tail there and twist. And as you're twisting, make sure you're taking it up to one side. I'm just going to tuck that away at the top there. And you get this really pretty feature that balances out the other one. Fun variety of this one. So you've done this bit here, you've tied the double knot and you've hidden your tails. What you can then do is take this beautiful part here and just twist it on itself so that it opens upwards, and you can create a second layer up the top. So I don't really want to tie this down to a double knot, although I could. So I'm just going to take a little dress pin like this, just pick some green ones up for this tickle. I'm just going to find the two ends, cross them over. So that's another variation on this triangle. So that was 3 variations so far using a triangle. So for the next couple of looks, I'm just going to use it folded in half on the long axis. So I've got my non-slip headband and my beautiful scrunchie there. So I have to sit really still, otherwise you'll see my hair, which is just out the back there. And we're going to get into a beautiful rectangular tie. I've laid this down a little bit asymmetrically because I really love the pattern in this particular portion of the scarf. And it's just folded in half. So I don't really get much control over the length when you do it this way. But what I do when I tie it, I just gather it so that it still sits at the nape, even though it's a little bit long. To start off with, we're going to cross over the forehead going this way. So when I do this thing, I just make sure that these little folds here go underneath. That fold goes underneath that bit, so like this. See? So it's already hidden underneath. I'm just going to tie it off to one side. I've chosen to tie it on the side that had the shorter tail, so then this tail becomes even shorter still. And then with this longer tail, I'm just going to go all the way around and do a second knot next to the first one, as close as possible. Like that. So going back to not tying that second or third knot down, what we do is we still tuck this way, but there's just a lot more to tuck this time. So I've just fanned it out a little so that we can still show a bit of that pattern as we tuck, like that. And then with this one, same sort of thing, just fan it out a little so you get a bit more of the beige, and then it goes underneath. And then you get this little bit more regal kind of turban look. Doing the same kind of beginning, so I've still got a little bit asymmetrically just to celebrate this break in the pattern here. But this time just tying it at the back, so I've just gathered 2 little ponytails. And we're just going to bring them out. You can crisscross at this point. I just like the security with a slippery fabric like this of a knot. So we still have it a little bit asymmetrical as a result of this pattern being where it is. And this is where the world of opportunity happens. So I'm going to start by fanning this out and really bringing it over like a kind of a crown like that. What I'm going to do is just twist here so I get this beautiful moment here, and then bring this one over and get it behind that fan so we can still see it, and back around nice and tight. And we can fix this up afterwards, so don't really worry about that. And we can take both the ends and tuck them under. So then there's this look. Staying in this first position, this is only up to about sort of chest level, and this is sitting on my lap, so still quite asymmetrical, probably about double the size. I'm just going to take the longer one over, make it pretty, and we're going to tie another one in front, not behind, but in front. And then another one above. Doesn't matter if it's messy. And another one above that. And then just lay The other beautiful thing you can do while you've got asymmetrical tails is very pretty look, and perfect for a beginner as well, because all you've got to do is a knot at the back and then a knot just through here. Okay, and just like that, which is also really pretty. Really quick and simple one that I've been doing a lot lately is by tying just one very flat knot just kind of next to the eye there, and doing a second one, but you've got to go behind. So make sure that you're tying it sort of flat on the head, which can be a bit tricky. And it doesn't even matter if you are symmetrical or not with your scarf for this one. There we go. So you get this really cute donut-y thing, and then you just got to figure out where to tuck away these bits. Now I like a bit of height and pattern, so I'm just going to twist through here and then tuck the little tail away here. Just shortens everything and creates another point of interest on the scarf. And then this one goes under and in to that one, just like that. And this one's so quick and easy and so pretty. You can also just have it flat as well, so just tucking it away nice and flat, but then it'll go all the way behind and you can tuck it under, so just like that. Now I'm going to stop there. I could probably go forever, but I'm going to make this symmetrical so that both tails are roughly the same length. Okay, and I'm actually going to tie it off on one side. So I prefer left, mostly because we drive on the right, so the steering wheel is on the right hand side of the car and we drive on the left hand side of the road in Australia, so I don't want anything when I'm looking through my blind spot driving around, so I prefer things on this side. But we're just going to tie a really low tail here, and you can leave it just like that. This would probably actually look a lot nicer with the shaper, to come to think of it, but this works too. So that's one way to do it, and you get this beautiful layered effect because you laid it down symmetrically. Or you could do all those looks we just did, but starting on the side rather than on the nape of the neck. This is another really good trick for girls who don't necessarily love the pressure on the back of their neck. So look at this. You can do lots of different designs. You can do all the things you would, but what you're doing is you're starting at a different point. So my idea for this challenge was born from the fact that you can do so much with one piece of fabric or one scarf. And I feel like a lot of the time people are just a little bit apprehensive to do something different. So obviously we didn't get through all the possible looks with this scarf because there's just not enough time in one video. But the challenge out there is how many looks can you do with one scarf that makes you reach out into that creative side of yourself. Thank you so much for coming along on this journey with me, my lovelies. It's just been an amazing, amazing time coming up with new concepts, new videos every time. I just love it. And I'm really grateful to those of you who do come along and watch. Leave me a comment if you like and just say hello. You can also do that by pressing the like button. And if you haven't done so already, please do subscribe. There's some links to my previous videos down below or to my channel, or also by visiting Instagram where all the looks go up as well. Wherever you are around the world, I hope you're having an amazing day. I'll see you next time. Bye.